Woman's stomach just keeps getting bigger. Then she realizes she's not pregnant. For most women, being pregnant is one of the best and most memorable moments of their lives. Of course, they do feel annoyed by the constant cravings and other struggles, but all those regrets are washed away as soon as they welcome their little bundle of joy to the world. However, sometimes a little swelling in the stomach can be the prelude to something far more dangerous, as one young woman soon realized. It all started in 2014 when 28-year-old Keely Favell noticed her clothes started fitting a little tighter than usual. "I couldn't understand it. I was exercising and eating healthily, but I was slowly getting bigger and bigger," she later told Daily Mail. The weight crept up so slowly she didn't think there was anything medically wrong with it. Keely had also struggled with weight her entire life and blamed the excess pounds on her body type, but things soon got worse. No matter what Keely did, she kept getting bigger and bigger, and her stomach started to swell a few months later. That was when she and her boyfriend Jamie began to wonder if she was actually pregnant. Keely went to the store and bought an at-home pregnancy test, hoping the result would solve the mystery, but the answer wasn't what she'd hoped: negative. Up till this point, Keely didn't think her weight gain was a good enough reason to go to the doctor. Sure, she gained a few pounds, but who doesn't in their 20s? Well, she soon realized that the situation wasn't as simple as it seemed, as one day while working as an office administrator, Keely started feeling lightheaded and lost consciousness. That was what finally made her get an appointment with her general practitioner and hope that she would get some sort of explanation. However, when she got there, the doctor wouldn't even examine her and blamed stress as the cause of her health struggles. Needless to say, Keely was rather frustrated with the explanation since she'd never heard of stress causing someone's stomach to swell as much as hers had. By now, Keely's stomach had grown so much that everyone, including her friends, started asking when the baby was due. Keely was rather embarrassed by the attention, and since she didn't know what was causing the weight gain, she didn't want anyone to be uncomfortable and began pretending that she was expecting a baby. Well, if she was expecting one, then it was probably going to be quintuplets, as Keely had ballooned from a size 14 to a size 22. Then, just a few short weeks later, Keely passed out again. By this time, the stress from the office had cleared up, so she knew that her doctor would have to find another excuse for her health problems. So she immediately made another appointment and demanded a blood test. Oddly enough, the results came back clear, and her doctor told her that her fainting spells were a result of acne pills she'd been prescribed a while back. There was just one problem with that. Keely had already stopped taking those pills 6 months prior. Vastly irritated and at her wit's end, Keely unzipped her stomach and demanded an explanation with proper examination. Unsurprisingly, her doctor insisted that Keely was likely pregnant, though the girl knew that was not the case. After all, she'd been waddling around like a heavily pregnant woman for about 2 years at this point, but she agreed to get an ultrasound taken at the local hospital. When Keely's name was called, she and her boyfriend walked into the room and hoped that they would finally get some proper answers, but neither were ready for what those answers would entail. When the radiologist began to move the probe over Keely's stomach, the image was blank. Thinking it was a mistake or technical glitch, the radiologist continued to try and find signs of life, and she did find something, but it caused her eyes to go wide, and Keely knew something was wrong. The radiologist quickly put down the probe and told the couple she needed to go get a consultant. As soon as she left the room, Keely began to freak out at the fear of the unknown, while her boyfriend tried his best to comfort her. It seemed like hours before the radiologist came back with a consultant, but it was actually just a few minutes, and after examining Keely's stomach and the ominous black screen, he immediately sent Keely for an emergency CT scan. After the CT, the couple anxiously awaited the results, and the doctor soon dropped the bad news. He told Keely that she was quite thin, but there was a 25-centimeter thick sac of fluid in her stomach region. However, he also said that he didn't know what exactly the sac of fluid was or what it was caused by, so he sent her to a high-risk obstetrics consultant for an examination. And at this point, Keely knew it was time to let her friends and family in on the truth. Her parents were working overseas in Australia, so they couldn't be there, but they tried their best to do everything they could to support their daughter. Their support gave her the courage to see a high-risk OBGYN, and as she began the examination, the look of shock took over his face, a look Keely said she'll never forget. The doctor informed her that she had a large ovarian mass, and because of its size, the only option at this point was to have surgery to remove it. However, he also warned her that there might be more than one mass and there was a big chance they could be attached to her other organs. in which case the surgery would become far more complicated and even life-threatening. With no options left to her, Keely agreed to the surgery. Unfortunately, she'd have to have an agonizing wait, as even though her case was classified as emergency, her operation couldn't be scheduled for another 4 weeks. During this time, Keely's stomach swelled another excruciating 5 inches, which was the fastest her stomach had grown since the problem started. By now, Keely weighed just over 280 pounds and could no longer perform everyday activities like driving or even walking, leaving her feeling miserable as she anxiously waited for her surgery to arrive. By this time, her parents had also made their way back and accompanied her and her boyfriend to the hospital, all of them feeling very nervous and praying the operation go well. Then, what the doctor had hoped would be a routine 1-hour-long operation soon turned into an almost 5-hour procedure, and what they were forced to deal with left them flabbergasted. When the surgeon opened Keely up, he found one giant ovarian cyst, weighing a whopping 57 pounds. To put that size into perspective, it weighed as much as an 8-year-old child. Now that's a lot of extra weight to carry around. And then he explained how big this cyst was and showed me the pictures. Keely recalled what happened after she woke up. I couldn't believe I'd been walking around for so long carrying this medical alien. Although the surgery left Keely with a 30-centimeter scar running from her sternum down to her pelvis and destroyed her right ovary, it was worth getting rid of her ovarian cyst, and doctors assured her that her chances of becoming a mother were unaffected. Keely's just glad that she can go back to her normal life now without having to worry about how she was gonna fit behind the steering wheel.